Stories of innovation and success from the vibrant communities of rural Nova Scotia. This is Ignited.
Hey there, welcome to Ignited the podcast, where we celebrate innovation and rural success. I'm Wade Cleveland. I work for a rural innovation hub called Ignite, a place that brings startups and industry, youth, and community together with the goal of making an impact on rural communities everywhere. This episode, I'm joined by Chef Pamela Leonforde, who is based in Yarmouth by way of St. Lucia and opening a vegan cafe here in Yarmouth. The story of her life and the story of how she got to rural Nova Scotia is truly inspiring. As we get started, first, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It's really a pleasure. It's been great to get to know you, and it's wonderful having you here in Yarmouth and in this space.
Thank you. I was just telling my friend who's here from St. Lucia today that this is such a wonderful place to live. When I came in for the first year, I wasn't sure if I would stay, but I've developed so many good relationships in town. You know, it's a warm place. People are warm here. It's lovely. I'm happy, and thank you for saying that.
How did you get here? Well, I know it's been a long journey, and we'll cover some of your past in a bit. But what led you to Yarmouth?
Actually, we were living in Orangeville in Ontario. I lived in Kenya and Uganda before I moved and got married and moved to Canada. And sidebar, I always said I would never ever live in Canada. So just to be living here is something else, another story in itself. But we were living in Ontario, and of course, we were one of the many families who came in as a result of COVID, wanted a slower, more, environmentally friendly, kind of laid-back lifestyle. So I convinced my husband to sell our house and move to Nova Scotia. How we ended up in Yarmouth is crazy, because we're on the end of Nova Scotia, and we kind of got what are we doing here? It's crazy. But we ended up finding this house that was 13 years on the market, and we bought the house and came and lived in it for the last 2 years. COVID. How we ended up here is basically COVID.
Not the first person who has said that. Let's talk about the early days, because this is a part of a story that I have heard early on, but you were quite sick as a young child. And tell us about that, because that is what influenced everything you did moving forward.
My mom had 8 children. I'm the only girl, 7 brothers. And my mom, of course, back in the islands, when you have lots of kids, my dad wasn't around. So my grandaunt took me, right, to live with them. I was, before that, I had spent 6 months in the hospital. I had suffered from Guillain-Barré, which is a kind of like a paralysis of the muscles. And so my aunt said, okay, fine, send her to live with us, and so we could help you out. That's my mom. And so my mom sent me to live with my aunt. And one of my aunts was, bless her soul, the community health lady. She would get the herbs and heal people and make different poultices. And so because I was told I wouldn't walk again, she nursed me back to health. And when she nursed me back to health, she would send me to find herbs for her to nurse other people. So I grew up with a keen interest in helping people and healing and the natural way of things. So that's basically what really began my journey with the holistic side of things, basically.
How old were you when you got sick?
I was 7 years old, 7 years. I think I spent my 7th birthday in the hospital. I spent 6 months in the hospital with my legs tied to 2 bags of sand because, I don't know what the treatment was at the time, but I remember being in the hospital and all the other kids in the children's ward are playing, and I was the joke because I couldn't move, I couldn't do anything. It was really a horrible 6 months, but I came out of it on the better side, living with my grandaunts, and yeah.
So learning as much as you did about natural cures and herbs and how food can make you sick, it can make you healthy as well. That had to be an amazing experience.
Yes, and it has been various levels of learning different aspects of healing. So with my grandaunt, I learned about using herbs to restore the physical body. But when I became older, I remember at age 23, I was also having recurring symptoms of my childhood in terms of my sickness. And I didn't know at the time what I was sick with, but when I was having these symptoms, I remember going to my dermatologist at the time because I was having some serious outbreaks on my body. And she is the one who did research on my history, my medical history. And she told me, Pamela, you were hospitalized with this issue. Okay, and this is why you are having these symptoms right now. And she told me incidentally that because I had been injected with so many different types of medication when I was younger, what I'm having now is a reaction to these things. And so she advised me to look at a holistic approach. And at the same time, because I'm spiritual, I'm asking God, what is this? And I met with some friends who were into the holistic lifestyle, and they're the ones who took me to a health clinic in Trinidad and Tobago, where I met what we now know to be a naturopath, okay? And he's the one who actually taught me for the first time that my food is my medicine, all right? And he did a blood analysis on me and showed me all the parasites in my blood and said, listen, if you do these simple things, you can clean off your digestive tract, you can clean off your circulatory system, and now you'll be able to live a longer life. And I did that. I did actually 3 months of only green juices. 3 months of green juices. I was skinny as a bone, but at the end of the day, I was energetic and I was able to think clearly. And for the first time in a long time, I was able to walk and run and be healthy.
That is an amazing
That's
story.
a mouthful, but that's basically what happened, yes.
Now, you spent a lot of time as a missionary, right?
Yes. I remember when I was going through that experience with this man in Trinidad, I said to God, because I'm very prayerful, said, if you heal me, I will help other people as well. I said, God, I really, really promise, if you really just help me to go through this journey, I will spend my life helping people to be well. And so after 3 months, I was totally cleansed and healed and restored. And I began to take courses in naturopathic medicine and study herbs. And then I began to become more focused in that field and went on a few missionary trips, right? I went to all over the Caribbean, South America, then I went to as far as Kenya and Uganda, teaching women mainly in the villages how to use your food to help you to heal, right? How to combine foods. There's a science in healing we don't really tune into because we are not really aware of how to combine our foods properly to get the most out of the nutrients that are in the plants. And so I spent the early part of my life doing that. I left my job as in marketing and television, and I went. In fact, my friends thought I was crazy. I was losing my mind because, like, how could you leave a high-paying job to go and travel all over the world teaching women about healing? But I loved it, and that's what I had done for many, many years.
Wow! So you were in marketing? This I didn't know. Tell me about that a little bit.
Actually, my very first job was selling encyclopedias. I did that all over the world in Botswana and Namibia. Selling books, I was good at that because, of course, I'm good at speaking. But when I settled down, I got a job as head of sales and marketing at a television and production company. So I was responsible for the regional and international marketing as well. And so I left that job to go full-time into the missionary work. And so I left that behind. So my friends are saying, maybe she's having a mental crisis. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm having the best time of my life. Right, and then doors were opening for me. People were hearing about me in different, other countries, and I was invited to do health talks and to do cooking classes, and that's what really my life has been up until now.
At what point did missionary work turn into what you're doing now?
I was at my home and I got a call from a friend of mine who's a pastor in Trinidad, Roger Kisto, and they had done several missionary trips to Kenya, and they wanted a holistic person to come on the trip with them to teach that. So, of course, I was very happy to go. I went and I spent 6 weeks traveling all over Kenya, teaching about food is medicine and cooking the natural way. And when I arrived in Kenya after my first week, I was called by the elders, and they asked me, they said, Sister Pamela, we want you to come back and live with us. I'm like, wow, no way. They said, yes, if you think about it, we like what you're doing. So if you can go home and bring your husband and your children and come, we'll provide for you. I had no husband. I only had one daughter. So I said, okay, fine. If God makes a way for me, then I'll come back. So I went home and I prayed about it. I went into my wilderness experience and prayed about it. And then, of course, the monies came in, and then I sold everything I had, and then I moved over to Kenya with one suitcase for me and my daughter, and we went into Nairobi. We were living in the Gong Hills, and there we were given a plot of land and a house and a garden, and my daughter went to private school, so we had a good life. And I spent my time traveling around Kenya and Uganda teaching about holistic lifestyle, food is medicine, and more importantly, teaching women how to cook without oil and butter and milk and dairy, and how it can be healthy and nutritious. And that has been my life until I met my husband, my now husband, and moved to Canada.
Wow. That is a remarkable story.
It's been an exciting life.
Yeah, no question. And a lot of bravery.
Yes.
I admire your bravery because those are huge risks to take.
When I sold my home, because I had a house that I had built and I was happy, I had gone to Guyana and bought the Purple Heart wood, and because I'm into nature, so I had this beautiful cottage in the mountains, and I just sold it and went to live in Africa, went away. People thought I was crazy. I had this then 9-year-old, 10-year-old daughter, right? And so we packed up everything and we traveled from St. Lucia to New York, and from New York to England to see my mom, right? My mom was like, where are you going? No. And from England, we arrived in Nairobi with 2 suitcases, and we just lived. And we had a thriving life. I actually still have a juice bar in Kenya called Juicy Juice that I had established there, because I used the juice bar to really get the Maasai men would come with prostate problems, and they'd ask me, Pamela, how do we, get this thing working? And I teach them about, why protein, or how protein affects the prostate, and how animal protein can be harmful to you because they eat a lot of red meat and they drink, sorts of stuff. So I was showing them, I said, bring your wives, let's have a conversation. And I would teach them how to make juicing, how to prepare their foods. And it was going very well.
I would think that in Canada, people are not eating particularly well. There's a lot of what I would consider junk food, if you will. There's a lot of fast food. There's a lot of quickly made food. There's frozen food. People live a rushing, hurried lifestyle that doesn't necessarily line up nicely with eating properly.
When I came to Canada and we moved into Orangeville, that's where I lived before, and because I was used to opening my door, going outside my fence, my gate, and picking my leeks in the morning, my potatoes, my tomatoes, and my herbs, and creating a meal for my daughter and myself, right, or for my community. But then I have to go to the grocery store. And then also, too, the way people eat a lot of fast food. Tim Hortons, no offense, I'm not trashing. That blew my mind when I saw everybody has to have a cup of coffee in the morning. I'm like, this is crazy. And then I began to do the research and found out that the link between caffeine and smoking and animal protein to cancer. And so I began to do a lot of health talks with the Lions Club, one of the Lions Clubs in Toronto. Somebody introduced me to this Lions Club, and they asked me to come in, and I would do for 3 years. I did an annual prayer breakfast with them where I would be the guest speaker. I'd come and speak about, cancer and food and lifestyle. In North America, it's crazy because people live on processed food, but there is a lot of fresh food available here, but people just choose the faster way, the easier way of living. The other thing I'm not a fan of is the quote-unquote vegan substitutes that people are into. like, the plant-based burgers that are filled with saturated fat and high rates of sodium hidden in there, right? So we have to be careful as to, even if it says plant-based, but we need to learn to read our ingredients. People do not like to read the ingredients in their packages or on their bottles. I spend a lot of time in the grocery store because I love reading my ingredients. And if I cannot pronounce the word, I'm not buying that product. You know what I mean? And so you don't need a degree or any kind of, high intellect to really understand that whatever you put into your mouth gets digested by your stomach and gets reabsorbed into your bloodstream through your small intestine. And that blood feeds every single cell, vein, organ, artery, nerve in your body. So whatever you eat, you are what you eat. And so in North America, it is crazy because the rates of cancer and diabetes, and also I'm finding in small communities like Yarmouth and Orangeville, mental health issues are on the upscale. And surprisingly, it is linked to our lifestyles, and so everything is linked to our lifestyles.
If you're an entrepreneur, you may want to consider becoming a resident at Ignite. Residency at Ignite will give you the resources, mentorship, and space you need to grow your startup or idea. You'll become a part of an incredible support network, a community that is dedicated to seeing you succeed. Book a tour of Ignite and see what we have to offer you. To book a tour and for more information, visit igniteatlantic.com.
Let's get back to your story. You're in Yarmouth. You show up here at Ignite. Talk a little bit about that. What the heck? Let's talk about your time at Ignite, because it's been great.
Every time I come into a new area, and I've traveled a lot since I was 17, I've been traveling a lot. Whenever I come to a new location, particularly if God sends me somewhere, I always ask him, how can I serve you in this community? How do you want me to reveal you? How can I help? Right? And I'm going to tell you a really, really emotional story. So because I was having a meal in a restaurant one time with my daughter, and we were not really happy with it because it was not, they had to put it together for us because they didn't have anything on the menu that catered for plant-based people. And my daughter said, Mommy, what are you doing? And my daughter is very much like me. Bless her heart. So, Mommy, what are you doing? Mommy, you can do this, right? Mommy, you can open a cafe in this town and provide healthy food because you feed us all the time. You feed everybody. And I'm like, I don't want to go into that sort of thing. It's just too much work. I just want to just relax. I'm in Yarmouth. I love it. She said, Mommy, you are not using your talent wisely. Okay?
Your daughter told you
Yes,
this.
my daughter was 17. She said, Mommy, you need to open a cafe and help the people of Yarmouth to eat healthy. So I began what you call a prayer walk. I began to walk around Yarmouth all the way up Stars Road and down. I prayed. I said, Lord, if you want me to do this, let me know what it is and how, and provide the way. And so I went to the town council one day and I asked, how can I open a restaurant in town? And they led me to Natalie Smith. This lady is just a powerhouse, right? She entertained me for an hour and she listened to what I was saying. And she said, yes, I believe you can do this here. And then she's the one who said, I'm going to introduce you to Ignite. I'm like, what's that? She said, don't worry. She sent me an email to myself and Doug, and then she set up a meeting. And then I came in and spoke with Doug about my product, and because I'm also into product development. And I spoke to Doug, and he was very enthusiastic about that. And so that's how I came into being here. And it's been a wonderful experience. I didn't believe that I could get the support, both emotionally and, that I could get here, just encouragement to boost myself, to boost my ideas and my dreams forward. Ignite has opened a lot of doors for me as an entrepreneur, a futurepreneur, if you want to call it that. I'm going to be 50, but still. But I appreciate that sense of community that is here. It's made life easier. It's made dreams seem achievable when you have a community of people who are genuinely interested in what you have to say and what you are about. So this is really, really a blessed space to be, yeah.
What is vegan?
So my kind of vegan, because vegan is a whole education, right? But I am simply offering whole food, right? Whole food, plant-based service, right? So when you walk into Kai Manger, what my cafe is going to call Cafe Kai Manger, it's going to be, everything there is going to be hopefully organic, because if I can continue with my supply, because that's another issue with being in Yarmouth, so not everything's organic, but all plant-based, down to your cheesecakes, down to your milks, down to your scones, down to your vegan palm bowls, which are going to be delicious, down to your cocoa, your Dite Cocoa, which is like organic chocolate from my country, St. Lucia. It's all going to be, whole foods. I am a little bit anxious about that, but with the support that I'm getting in the community, I think it's going to be okay.
It feels like the community really is stepping up to give you that support.
Yes, it's overwhelmingly amazing, because people are actually meeting me and saying, "When are you opening? We want to come. We're looking forward to trying this, whatever." So,
any unique problems when it comes to being an entrepreneur compared to other things you've done?
Well, with every single event or process in life, there are bits of learning curves that you will get. So with this experience, I'm finding that being able to cater to the palate of Nova Scotians or people from Yarmouth, who are mainly meat and potatoes, and also, milk and dairy people now, I have to, I'm in my test kitchen all the time thinking of ways I can perfect, because you want to be able to recreate things as close to its natural original state as possible, right? And I don't use sugar, and I'm not somebody who fries ever, okay? Me and oil have a hate relationship from since I was a child, and butter, okay? It's a natural distaste for that, but I'm trying my very best. Like, for example, puff pastry requires a lot of butter, okay? And so I'm trying my best to be able to get the science right, so that persons it'll be palatable, and persons can enjoy a wonderful experience. Because at the end of it all, I want people to know that vegan, plant-based is not boring. It's exciting, right? It's also tasty. And ultimately, it is nutritious for you, right? And so combined with these three, I'm praying that people will be happy with the outcome of the food. So far, it's so good, but let's just see.
I can't wait to taste it and to be sitting in there with you there as well. It's been a pleasure knowing you, and here's to more success here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I look forward to it, and I'm thankful for the community that you guys have created here at Ignite, and I look forward to really giving you guys the props, because you guys have been a major part. I don't want to miss out also that I am also a member of the Greenville community, and Chuck Smith and also Troy Lawrence. These two have been instrumental in really pumping positive energy into me at the get-go, right? And so they are part of my community as well, that helped me to really realize this dream that I'm realizing right now.
You can follow Chef Pamela and her cafe on Facebook by searching Café Kai Manger. To find out more about rural innovation and what Ignite does, check out IgniteAtlantic.com. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you subscribed to Ignited, shared us with your friends, and gave us a good review. And remember, you can find past episodes anytime by looking over our archive wherever you find podcasts. We'd love to hear from you. Any comments or suggestions about the podcast, or who you'd like to hear on it, maybe it's you, are most welcome. Email me at Wade, W-A-D-E, @IgniteAtlantic.com. I'm Wade Cleveland. Thanks for listening. Talk soon.